Previously on the Ashtray.
I believe it sends a message that Berea College is concerned about the health of the campus community.
If prohibition is the right step, take that step. But we start first with public health.
I don't know. From what I'm hearing right now, and what I already know about how rules are enforced on campus, even by student life staff who are trained to enforce rules, I don't know what is actually going to come out of this besides making students feel like, again, we're being parented by the college. What is the goal of this, and what are the actual enforcement mechanisms going to achieve here?
I think we've explained it. And so part of today is to get feedback on that, right? So am I going to adjust an already agreed upon procedure as we talk? No.
This is the Ashtray, a series dedicated to covering the debate surrounding the smoking and tobacco policy passed at Berea College in 2018. Berea College is one of the last institutions in the state of Kentucky that allows smoking and tobacco usage on campus. But that will soon change, as Berea begins transitioning to a smoke-free and tobacco-free campus come July. The policy has polarized groups on campus and sparked controversy, quickly becoming one of the hottest topics in the Berea community. This is the second installment in a 6-part series covering the smoking and tobacco policy on campus. I'm your host, Christian Gensel, joined today by Senior Communication Major Caleb Bannister.
In this episode, we're diving into the historical and social background of tobacco use and policy in and around Berea College.
While students and faculty discussed future concerns about the policy at Monday's Smokeout Q&A, the larger backdrop surrounding the issue has remained largely obscured. With this episode, we hope to provide the context essential to understanding the policy as Berea College grows closer to implementing the ban on July 1st. Last January, President Roloff sent out a campus-wide survey assessing community support of the proposed tobacco-free policy. The survey received 867 respondents, with 49.5% in support of the policy and 48% against it. While 2/3 of faculty and staff respondents were in support of this policy, the majority of students, 60.5%, were not.
Although the survey found that the majority of students are opposed to the policy, President Roloff doesn't think the results were an accurate assessment of student support of the ban.
So the summer before we started this process, I asked 22 members of the SGA. I told them that we were thinking about going this route, and I asked for their input on that, or their views. And of the 22, 20 were in favor of doing what we subsequently did. I took that as a more accurate read on what student opinion really would be. I had 100% response from 22 people who had been elected to various representative offices in the Student Government Association. If we had an accurate read on student views, it probably would have been considerably more supportive, probably much more than a majority in support.
The average first-year Berea College student has a family income under $30,000 a year, with more than 70% of all students coming from the Appalachian region and Kentucky. According to a report by the Appalachian Regional Commission, nearly 20% of adults in Appalachia report smoking, 4% higher than the national average. Within the region, economically distressed counties report 5% higher smoking rates than non-distressed counties. In Appalachia, Kentucky, disparities are even greater, with 25.9% of adults reporting smoking. Kentucky has the highest smoking rates in the country, with 9,000 people a year dying from smoking-related illness.
Kentucky colleges have made strides over the last decade to curtail tobacco use. The University of Kentucky became tobacco-free in 2009 and has promoted such legislation throughout the rest of the state through the Kentucky Center for Smoke-Free Policy. Eastern Kentucky University followed suit in 2014 when it passed its own legislation banning tobacco use on campus. Although Berea College has long allowed smoking on its campus, President Roloff said that the college has enforced a tobacco-free policy in the past.
If you go back to our founding and all the way to World War II, we were a tobacco-free campus. You can look in student manuals from 1920s and 1930s, and smoking is not allowed. We only began to allow smoking when we had a substantial presence of Navy officers on campus during World War II as part of a training program. And so that's a long time ago, that's 70 years ago, but we were not always in that situation of having tobacco on campus.
Since World War II, Berea College has largely allowed smoking on campus. However, the forthcoming ban is not the administration's first attempt at curtailing tobacco use at Berea.
3 years before, we charged a small group of faculty, staff, and students to come up with a set of guidelines to move us in the right direction. As a result, some gazebos were moved further from the walkways. There was an increase in the smoking cessation support we offered, but it was pretty clear that students were still coming to Berea College and becoming smokers. When we decided to face the question again, instead of taking that earlier approach where we said, are there some gradual things that we can do? We said, why don't we instead come up with a real policy suggestion that makes us a no smoking campus and then see if the community will support it or not.
The city of Berea has its own history with smoking. In 2007, Berea, Richmond, and all other parts of Madison County passed a policy banning smoking in indoor public places. But with the Kentucky Supreme Court striking down Bullitt County's smoking ban in 2014, Madison County's ban opened up for review. The county's Board of Health met to discuss the old ban, voting 9-1 in favor of the policy. The Health Board Vice Chairman John Johnson said, quote, "It's widely desired by the people of Madison County. It's not a matter of a few people on the Health Board thought this was a good idea." Despite the widespread support, criticism of the ban remained. Health Board member Michael Oliver, the single dissenting vote on the board, said, quote, "My position has nothing to do with smoking. It has to do with individual rights, and they extend well beyond smoking."
I guess I just feel like decrees from on high, as well, and that sort of thing, just top down, isn't really the best way of going about something like that, because, you know, we can see just in real life, trying to ban something outright doesn't stop people from doing it. So if that is Berea's goal, to stop smoking, I don't think just an outright ban is the best way to go about it.
In our next episode of The Ashtray, we're talking to students and faculty at Berea College who are in support of the smoking and tobacco ban.
I'm a non-smoker. I don't smoke for a reason. I saw my father die of lung cancer. I know what it can do. I know it's a harmful activity. However, as long as it is protected by law, I don't see this working. I think it's a policy that has no teeth to it.
The Ashtray is a Code 2319 production. This episode was produced by Caleb Bannister, directed by Jacob Stenson, and written by Elijah Mesmer. Editing for this episode was done by executive producer of The Ashtray, Christian Gensel. For more installments of The Ashtray, like and follow Berea College News and Radio on Facebook.